Read on, because sometimes, when you tune into the wrong frequency, you hear exactly what you're not supposed to. My name's Gavin Turner, 37, electrician, ex-Navy radio tech, small business owner in Lexington, Kentucky. Married 9 years to Alyssa, 35, smart, sharp-witted, school counselor, always good with words. Too good, maybe. We don't have kids. Been trying. Not aggressively, just, life kind of drifts. You blink and suddenly it's been a year since you last had sex with any real passion. And another 2 since you said I love you without it being a default. But none of that mattered until Dad died. That's what started it. Dad passed of pancreatic cancer in June. Quiet, painful, fast. The kind of grief that doesn't shout, just hums constantly under your ribs. He was a ham radio nerd. Had a whole basement lab built in the 90s, like a bunker of wires and knobs and analog madness. I never cared for it growing up, but now that he was gone, I couldn't let it just sit. So I started fixing up his old equipment. Mostly as a way to feel close to him again. It started with cleaning out the cobwebs. Then tuning the antennas. Then powering up his old ICOM transceiver, model from 1988, a beast with flickering green displays and buttons that stuck. And then, one Friday night around 1 a.m. it spoke. Not static. Not a foreign frequency. Not Morse code. Voices. Clear. Local. At first, I thought it was a police band. But they weren't cops. A woman was laughing, breathy, nervous. A man answered her. Deep voice. Confident. Familiar. The woman's voice, it sounded like Alyssa. I froze. My hand hovered over the dial, not sure if I should turn it off or dial in closer. The signal was fading in and out, like they were moving. No, stop it, we can't, Gavin's home tonight, she said. He's probably asleep. You said he never stays up late. A pause. I told you, if he finds out. He won't. Trust me. My throat closed up. The voice, it was Alyssa's. Her patterns, her giggle, her breath when she was trying not to be heard. It wasn't just similar. It was her. I sat back, stunned. Maybe I was mishearing. Maybe this was a weird prank, a pirate broadcast. But something deep in my gut, that old Navy instinct when you're tracking a sonar ping, said no. This was real. I didn't tell her the next day. I couldn't. I needed to be sure. Needed more proof. Needed to know I wasn't just going crazy. So I rigged Dad's receiver to record. Every night for the next 4 days, I left it running. While Alyssa kissed me goodnight. While she said she had early meetings or a friend's crisis or needed a bath. While I sat in the garage pretending to fix a busted surge protector, just to be near the basement door and listen. And on the 3rd night, the voices came again. This time, it was clearer. Longer. Dirtier. You don't touch me like that, not even when we were dating, she whispered. Because you were always too careful, he said, voice low and commanding. Too busy playing perfect wife. With me, you don't have to be anything. The sound of a zipper. A gasp. And then, the unmistakable rhythm of betrayal. I turned off the receiver, but not before hearing her say. I wish I met you before Gavin. It hit me harder than a bullet ever could have. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even cry. I just sat there in the garage with Dad's radio blinking like some cursed heart monitor, trying to wrap my head around what was happening. How the hell was this broadcast getting through? Was someone using a ham radio to cheat? No texts. No emails. No suspicious apps. Just frequencies. By Sunday, I had a plan. I soldered a voice-activated relay onto the transceiver, so it would kick on recording automatically when their voices started. I rigged a small transmitter, so I could listen from the van. Even during jobs. I became obsessed. Tracking the times. The phrases. Trying to find clues about who he was. Alyssa smiled at me over dinner that night like nothing had changed. Like we were still just another married couple watching the Great British Bake Off and arguing over which contestant had the best sponge. But my ears had heard her moaning another man's name and it wasn't mine. The irony? The very thing I picked up to feel close to my father was now pulling me closer to the truth about my wife. And the worst part? I was starting to recognize his voice too. Keep reading, because the truth doesn't whisper. It broadcasts. I didn't tell anyone. Not my brother, not my closest friend from the Navy, not even the guy who co-owns my business, Marcus, who I trust more than my own reflection. Some truths are too raw to touch. They burn before they cool. I kept listening. Every night, like clockwork, I'd catch snippets of them. Sometimes whispers. Sometimes laughter. Once, the unmistakable smack of a palm against skin followed by a moan that nearly made me throw up. Alyssa had never made that sound with me, not in 9 years. That sound wasn't pleasure. It was submission. But the voice. His voice. That was driving me insane. It wasn't just familiar. It was intimate. I knew it the way you know a song from childhood, not by name, not by title, but by how it makes your stomach turn. He had a slight southern twang. Not too thick. Confident. Older, maybe 40s. Deep timbre, the kind of voice that could talk you into anything. I replayed the recordings every morning before work, isolating words, tonal inflections, trying to trace them back in my memory like I was decoding a transmission in wartime. My brain was turning inside out. And then, it clicked. It was Monday afternoon. I was rewiring an outdoor panel for a new coffee shop on Jefferson when I heard it. Gav, you double-checked the grounding rods on the north wall? Marcus. His voice, coming in over the walkie we used on job sites. I froze, standing halfway up a ladder with a spool of copper wire in one hand and my heart free-falling in the other. That voice. That exact tone. The way he dragged my name like a casual swing of a beer bottle. Yeah, I lied, eyes wide. Just finishing now. I climbed down, palms sweating. My knees buckled slightly when I hit the ground. I walked to the van, shut the door, pulled out my phone, and replayed the most recent transmission I'd captured on Dad's rig. I missed the way you gasp when I grab your throat, he said in the recording. Alyssa giggled. You're awful. You love it. It was him. Marcus. I nearly threw the phone across the dash. My jaw locked so tight I thought my teeth would crack. He was my business partner. My friend since we were 19. He was the best man at my wedding. He toasted us with whiskey and gave me a box of cigars and said, to loyalty. He was sleeping with Alyssa. In my house, probably. In the house we bought with our joint down payment. The one Marcus helped us fix up the deck on. I had to be sure. 100%. No more guesswork. So I set the trap. That night, I told Alyssa I had an overnight commercial job out in Bowling Green. She barely blinked. Kissed me on the cheek, told me to stay safe, babe. I pretended to leave. Took the van 2 blocks down. Walked back in the dark, circled around the backyard, and slipped into the basement, where I had installed a hidden motion-triggered mic and camera, buried among my dad's radio gear. I watched the feed from my phone. The basement was quiet for the first hour. And then, just after 10:45 p.m., motion triggered. Footsteps. Muffled voices. A click. Then another voice. You sure he's gone? Yeah, took the van. He won't be back till tomorrow night. You locked the back door this time? I did. I'm not stupid. Marcus. It was no longer a theory. I watched them. Her in a long t-shirt, no bra. Him in the same boots he wore on site. He kissed her neck like he owned her. She melted like she'd been waiting all week for it. I had to look away. But I didn't turn it off. They did it right on my father's old workbench. On the very table where I'd soldered my first circuit board as a kid. Alyssa said something that broke me. You know, sometimes I wish Gavin would find out. Just so we could stop pretending. Marcus laughed. Don't worry. If he ever did, I'd handle it. I didn't know what that meant. But I knew what I had to do next. The following morning, I showed up to work like normal. Marcus greeted me with that same easy grin. We installed 2 new breaker boxes, had burgers for lunch, even joked about how the new client's dog kept humping his leg. Every second, I wanted to cave his skull in. But I smiled. Nodded. Waited. Because I wasn't going to confront him. Not yet. No. I was going to make him watch the whole thing unravel. Keep reading. This isn't a revenge fantasy. This is a controlled demolition. And every piece is falling right into place. I didn't sleep for 2 days. But I didn't yell. I didn't confront. I didn't burn it all down. I observed. I calculated. I planned. I needed proof that would destroy them both without me lifting a finger. So I started laying bricks. Step 1, the bait. I created a fake email. Name, Riley Thompson. No photo. No history. Just a fake guy with a polite tone and a tech-savvy twist. Using a VPN and a spoofed location, I emailed Marcus. Hey man. I know this is awkward, but I think your friend Gavin might know. You and Alyssa were a little loud last Thursday night. He was parked 2 blocks away. Just thought you should know. Be careful. 30 minutes later, Marcus texted me. Yo Gav, when's your next overnight? Not for a few weeks. Why? Nothing. Just figured we could do a double shift. Make some cash. You good, bro? Yeah. All good. Just asking. Nervous. He was already rattled. But I wasn't done. Step 2, the file. I compiled every recording. Every audio clip. Every grainy black and white video. I cut it together with timestamps, zoomed in facial shots, audio cleaned up by a plugin I bought off a Reddit forum. I titled it, Breach, Property and Marriage. Saved it to a thumb drive. Labeled the drive in red ink, for Gavin's eyes only. Then, I mailed it, not to me, but to Alyssa's boss at the law firm where she worked. Why? Because she'd just applied for a partner track promotion. And the firm's biggest rule? No scandals. No internal drama. No compromised reputations. The footage would kill her shot, not from jealousy or pettiness, but from policy. 1 match. Whole forest burns. Step 3, the trap. I called up my cousin Shelby, a freelance photographer who'd done gigs from weddings to surveillance. Can you set up a remote-controlled drone to fly past my back window Thursday night at exactly 11 p.m. and record 15 minutes of footage? Why? Because I'm catching a raccoon. She laughed. You want me to bring heat cameras too? I smirked. Sure. Let's catch all the warm-blooded animals. She didn't ask questions. I paid her double. That Thursday, I left again, but this time I told Alyssa I'd be back early morning. I made a big deal of forgetting my phone charger. Told her I'd be exhausted. Her eyes flickered. Guilt? Fear? Or just wondering how much time she had? At 11:02 p.m., Shelby's drone went live. And sure enough, Marcus showed up through the back fence, hoodie on, boots muddy. He had a key. The drone caught them. Window open. Curtains drawn just enough to see shapes, hands, silhouettes moving like a scene from a movie I never wanted to be part of. But here's the key detail, they used my couch. The one Alyssa swore she hated. The one I bought with my bonus 3 years ago. The couch where she used to fall asleep on my chest during Sunday night football. They defiled my peace. Perfect. Step 4, the lever. I waited until Monday. Marcus came in early, like always. Brought coffee. Said we had a new commercial bid coming in. Acted like nothing had changed. But I saw it. The fidget in his right thumb. The way he avoided eye contact when he asked how Alyssa was. She's good, I said, sipping the coffee he brought me. She said to tell you hi. He blinked. Froze for half a second. Then grinned. Fake. Like a mask that didn't fit anymore. I handed him a sealed envelope. What's this? He asked. A proposal. For a new project. Inside, a USB drive. Labeled truth.exe. He looked at it like it was a bomb. Play it tonight, I said casually. Alone. Headphones on. No distractions. He nodded slowly. Did he know? Maybe. But he didn't know how much I knew. Step 5, the fallout begins. I didn't go home that night. I sat in my truck at the edge of Lake Lemons, phone off, engine running. Just staring at the water, remembering all the things I didn't know were already gone. At 1:13 a.m., I turned my phone back on. 3 voicemails from Marcus. First one. Gav, man. Look. I don't know what you saw, but I swear it wasn't like that. Second one. Okay. You win. You always win. But don't destroy her, man. Please. Third one. You're AF ****ing psycho. You planned this? What kind of man does that? I smiled. Then deleted them all. Keep reading. Because the next domino is about to fall and it's the one that was never supposed to move. Marcus didn't show up to work the next day. No call. No message. Nothing. By 11 a.m., my boss asked if I knew anything. I think he's dealing with some personal stuff, I said, sipping my coffee like a man who didn't drop a nuclear bomb the night before. By noon, Marcus had blocked me on everything. That's when I knew it hit. The office call. At 2:17 p.m., I got the second call I was waiting for, from Melissa Halden, senior partner at Alyssa's law firm. Mr. Miller, she said, voice clipped and formal. Do you have a moment? Yes, of course. I just wanted to let you know, something came across my desk this morning. Anonymous package. USB drive. Video footage of a very private nature involving your wife and another man. I'm not calling to interrogate you. But we are reviewing Alyssa's application for senior associate. You're saying her personal life disqualified her? No. I'm saying the publicity did. We're a firm. Reputation is everything. Someone clearly wants her name tainted. I'm sorry. She hung up. I stared out the window. One piece down. Not because I hated Alyssa. But because she killed us with secrets. Now, the truth was eating her back. The return. I went home that night like nothing happened. Walked through the door. She was in the kitchen, hair tied up, sleeves rolled, humming to some indie song she never listened to before the affair started. She smiled. Forced. Hey baby, she said. How was work? I kissed her on the cheek. Same old. You? She hesitated. Rough. I got called in early this morning. Melissa asked me some weird questions about personal conduct. Someone's messing with me. Oh? I raised an eyebrow. Like what kind of personal? She studied me. Like a snake sniffing danger. Nothing. Just. I don't know. She was being cold. I nodded. Weird. Then I walked into the living room and sat right on that same couch they used. Stared at her like I was seeing her for the first time and the last. She didn't know yet that everything around her was already collapsing. Marcus's descent. By Thursday, Marcus's wife had left him. Yeah, he was married too. Not that it ever stopped him. But she found the same footage I had. You see, that second USB drive? It didn't go to Marcus. It went to Samantha Reynolds, his wife. I mailed it anonymously, of course. With one line. He calls her LYSS when you're not home. She filed for divorce the next morning. Froze his accounts. Took their kids to her sister's place in Oregon. She didn't even bother to text me. Didn't have to. I saw Marcus 2 days later at a gas station by chance. He looked broken, sunken eyes, jaw clenched, hoodie up even in 82-degree weather. He saw me. I nodded at him. He turned away. Could have fought me. Could have screamed. But he knew I was 10 steps ahead. And that eats a man alive worse than fists ever could. Alyssa cracks. Saturday night, I found her crying in the shower. She didn't know I was standing outside the bathroom. Didn't hear the door creak. But I heard her whisper. I'm sorry, Marcus. I didn't know it would blow up like this. Marcus. She wasn't even crying for me. That was the moment something inside me snapped, not out of rage, but peace. I was done. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I didn't slam the door. I just walked back to the kitchen and wrote a note. The goodbye. Alyssa. I know everything. I knew it weeks ago. You made your choices. I made mine. This isn't revenge. This is what truth looks like when it comes dressed like silence. I hope you find something real one day. But it's not me anymore. The keys are in the drawer. The house is yours. The piece is mine. Gavin. I left it on her pillow. Along with my wedding ring. Then I grabbed my bag and walked out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't even look back. When you leave behind chaos, don't expect it to stay put. It spreads. It bites back. I checked into a motel 45 minutes outside the city. Nothing fancy. Peeling paint. No concierge. Just a bed and silence. It was perfect. The only sound was the buzz of the neon sign outside my window and the occasional thud of someone dragging their life down the hallway. Felt fitting. For the first time in weeks, I slept like I used to, mouth open, arms stretched, phone on airplane mode. The ripple begins. I woke up to 14 missed calls. 12 from Alyssa. 2 from her mother. And 1 text from her firm. Alyssa Miller is no longer with the company. Please contact HR for any further correspondence. There it was. The title she'd been chasing for 4 years evaporated in a single weekend. I didn't even crack a smile. Just exhaled and deleted the message. Alyssa had always thought control came from knowing. But now she knew everything, and it did nothing but paralyze her. Marcus reaches out. Monday morning, I got an anonymous DM. No profile pic. Just text. You win. It was Marcus. Simple. Empty. Pathetic. I didn't reply. Not because I wasn't tempted, believe me, the idea of sending a one-word always felt poetic, but because I already said what I needed to. With silence. Alyssa shows up. Wednesday. 6:42 p.m. She showed up at the motel. Don't ask how she found me. Women like her can track down a snowflake in a blizzard when their heart is cornered. I heard the knock and knew. Didn't even check the peephole. I opened the door. She stood there, makeup half run, hair pulled into a sloppy bun, hoodie way too big for her frame. Not the woman who destroyed me. Just the shell of her. Can we talk? She asked. I stepped aside. Let her in. The conversation. She sat on the edge of the bed like she didn't belong there. Because she didn't. I don't know what happened, she started, voice trembling. I think you do, I said. She looked up. Marcus's wife, she knew. She left him. And my firm, Melissa, they all think I'm some homewrecker. You are, I said calmly. She froze. I didn't mean to, she started. That's the problem. You didn't mean to. You just did. Over and over. She looked at me like I'd slapped her. I wanted to tell you. I was going to. You were never going to, I cut in. You were hoping I'd never find out. Silence. I lost everything, Gavin, she whispered. I turned to her. No. You lost me. The rest? That was just your reflection finally breaking. The final blow. She reached into her bag. Pulled out the photo, our photo, the one we took on the boardwalk 4 years ago. Before the firm. Before the lies. Before Marcus. I found this last night, she said. I don't even remember the last time I looked at it. I didn't take it. I loved you, she said. I nodded. You did. In your own way. But you also loved feeling wanted. And sometimes, one kills the other. Tears welled in her eyes. I wish I could take it back, she said. I stood. You don't get to. That's the thing with breaking someone. You can regret it all you want, doesn't glue the pieces back. She stood too. Slow. Defeated. So that's it, she asked. We're just done? We were done the moment you called another man baby in our house. The exit. She didn't argue. Didn't scream. Didn't beg. She just walked to the door, paused, and whispered. You didn't just destroy me. You destroyed us. I stayed silent. Because she destroyed us. I just turned on the lights. The door shut. And I felt nothing. Not victory. Not sorrow. Just air. Clean, cold, and mine again. You think when it ends, the hurt stops? No. It just changes shape. 3 weeks later. That's how long it took for my heart to stop looking over its shoulder. 3 weeks of waking up without the taste of bitterness on my tongue. 3 weeks of no calls, no texts, no guilt trips from Melissa's friends or family. Just stillness. I'd started working remotely from a friend's guesthouse in Oregon. Chopping wood, fixing fences, building something again even if it wasn't love. Then came the letter. The letter. Not an email. Not a text. A real damn letter, postmarked from Chicago, no return address. My name scrawled on the front like a whisper. I almost didn't open it. But I did. Inside, 1 page. No signature. You don't know me, Gavin. But I know Alyssa. And I think you deserve the truth she never gave you. My hands clenched the paper tighter. Your wife didn't meet Marcus at the firm. That was just the last place they connected. She met him 3 years ago, at a conference in Miami. They slept together that first weekend. They kept sleeping together. Even when you planned your anniversary trip. I stopped reading. I didn't need more. But the page wasn't done with me. Marcus was never the only one. I saw her once at a hotel downtown. Different man. Not Marcus. Different room. She told me I never saw anything. But I did. You're not crazy. You were just a good man in the wrong storm. I folded the letter. Pressed it to my knee. And I broke. The spiral. That night, I didn't sleep. Didn't drink. Didn't scream. I just sat by the fire pit outside, letting the wind chew at my skin. She had more secrets. She had layers. And the worst part? Even when I thought I had found every crack, she still had corners I never touched. I remembered the trip we never took, the one she cancelled last minute. I remembered the night she said girls' night and came home with perfume I didn't recognize. I remembered the time I found a charger in our car that didn't fit either of our phones. It all came flooding in. And this time, I didn't push it away. The visit. A week later, there was a knock on the guesthouse door. I opened it and froze. Marcus's wife. Her name was Jenna. We'd only met once, some corporate holiday party, years back. She looked like she hadn't slept in a century. Dark circles, sunken cheeks, hair tied in a rage knot. "Can I talk to you?" she asked. I stepped aside. Silent. She walked in, paced once, then turned to me. "I found your name in Marcus's deleted emails," she said. "I got a letter," I replied. "From someone who saw them in Miami." "And more." Her eyes narrowed. "That wasn't me." We both froze. "So who was it?" The revelation. Jenna sat on the armrest of the couch, exhaling hard. "Marcus didn't just cheat with your wife," she said. "He kept notes. Photos. A journal. Sick bastard thought he was writing a memoir of his affairs." My chest tightened. "You have it?" I asked. She nodded. Pulled a thumb drive from her coat. Set it on the table. "I don't want revenge," she said. "I just want someone else to carry the weight for 5 minutes." I didn't touch the drive. "Not yet." She stood to leave. But before walking out, she said something that rattled me worse than the letter. "You ever wonder why Alyssa was so good at lying?" I blinked. She continued. "Because she learned it from her mother, who lied to her father. And her grandmother did the same. She didn't just cheat, Gavin. She inherited it." Then she left. The decision. I stared at that thumb drive for hours. Never plugged it in. Never read the files. Because I didn't need more pain. I already knew enough to build a future without ghosts. Instead, I walked to the nearby lake, took the drive, the letter, the old photo Alyssa left behind, and tossed them in. Watched the ripples spread. Then walked away. 1 year later. I own a small cabin shop now. Build tables. Fix boats. Write when I feel like it. No more city noise. No more her. I met someone a few months ago. Emma. She laughs with her whole chest. Doesn't apologize for existing. She asks questions, not to catch me, but to know me. Sometimes I catch myself flinching when she reaches for her phone. Old reflex. Old scars. But she sees it. And she stays anyway. I told her everything. Even the parts that made me sound weak. She said, "You're not broken, Gavin. You're just real now." The last line. They say when someone shatters you, you either spend your life trying to glue the pieces or you build something new with them. I'm building. And for the first time in years, I'm not looking back.